Hi everyone, it's Ruge here, founder and broker here at Ruge Real Estate. Today I am showing you guys a brand new development here in Midtown East, Murray Hill. We're on the corner of 2nd Avenue between 34 and 33rd Street. This project just launched sales, which means right now there are great deals to be made. That's why I wanted to get you guys in as soon as possible and show you what the finishes look like, whether this is something you're interested in, and give you guys my opinion on the project. Let's go. So here would be the entrance and the facade of the building. The entrance is on 2nd Avenue. You have this setback design. The first layout we're gonna see is the 04 line. This is their mid-size one-bedroom layout. It is very standard. You have a gallery island kitchen. In terms of finishes, I'll read this to you. Primary bathrooms with porcelain floors, vanity, and shower walls. But we do have this pattern that looks like stone, but it is porcelain. It is nice that they designed this alcove on the wall to hold some of your products. And these days we are seeing a lot of these like selfie mirrors. You can switch it on and off like that with the touch. And we have custom alpine wood cabinetry. I really like this cabinetry design. I think it looks very modern. It looks warm with this choice of wood. And you do have a double drawer storage. And I like the floating toilet situation. It makes it easier to clean. And closer to the entrance next to the bathroom, we have the Miele washer dryers. And you have this coat closet. This layout faces east. We're overlooking 2nd Avenue, and I'm going to give you a very detailed look on what's outside 2nd Avenue. It is, I would say, pretty open for Manhattan. You're far enough away from the next building. You do get a lot of sky, not a lot of things blocking you. It is not the prettiest view, but that's not what we're after. As long as you have ample sunlight, I'm okay with that. And here we have the kitchen. I like the fact that at this price point, at this square footage, you do have a full-size kitchen for one bedroom. Kitchen finishes include white lacquered alpine wood cabinetry, basaltina quartz countertops. I'm very much of a fan of a trash collection area. You do have that garbage disposal, which is very functional. I don't want a kitchen without garbage disposal these days. Miele dishwasher is very good, and they have this side pantry. They have this much space. It's a nice looking design, but I don't know how functional it is. You open it and both drawers come out. So I don't know how easy it is to reach that bottom drawer. This is just how it's done, but it looks good. It looks good. I do like that they have a double oven situation. Appliances by Miele, cooktop, wall oven, warming drawer, dishwasher, and speed oven. Very expensive appliances. But Miele is also widely used among Manhattan high-end projects, which is most projects these days. You don't see a project come out and they market themselves as not a luxury development, but at least they try and all use Miele or up for most of the appliances. I did notice here that this fridge is not Miele, which is just something that I caught. Otherwise, you would think that they're all Miele. I don't know. I have no idea why. Instead of like a whole suite of Miele, they even put in Miele laundry machines, which most of the time, if one appliance isn't from Miele, it's usually the washer dryer, which usually is Bosch. I don't know why here you have Miele washer dryer, but you don't have a Miele fridge and freezer. I don't know the reasoning behind that, but that is just factual. And here is the bedroom for this one bedroom line. You do have a pretty sizable walk-in closet, fully built out by California Closets. This is one of the very few developments that actually build out any closet situation at all. It is pretty standard for new dev to just leave the closet spaces empty, and at best they'll give you like a rod. But here they do fully build out your closet, so that's a very nice detail that they added. Here I am giving you a sense of the noise level for the traffic on 2nd Avenue. I would say 2nd Avenue, at least this part of town, in Midtown are mostly residential. You don't see a lot of commercial activities. It's mostly what I would like to call residential retail, which is stores, retail, amenities for people who live there. You don't see offices, you don't see like 5th Avenue action. So traffic-wise, I think this part of town is okay, especially if they make insulated windows. Most generically, it's at least double layered. Sometimes buildings do triple layered. I don't think that is the case here. Whenever you see a new development that don't have that window AC unit, that's basically a hole in your wall, as long as your HVAC is like within the unit and the windows in the outer wall is completely sealed off, you're usually fine with traffic noise. And there is no development that I've ever seen in the city that can get rid of that fire truck siren sound. Not possible. As long as you live in Manhattan, you're gonna get those. Not even in the highest, most luxury developments like Central Park Tower, you still hear sirens. We have Samsung thermostats. I do believe this is just a one zone, which means that one thermostat controls the whole apartment and you don't have separate temperature zones between the living room and the bedroom. So just for comparison, I'm going to show you briefly other one-bedroom layouts. This is the 05 line. The 05 line does have corner exposure. It looks over 2nd Avenue to the east and it looks up north. You have this bigger window looking up north, up 2nd Avenue with very open view. You see a lot of sky and you even have this slim river bridge view. It's always good to have more windows, but the 05 line is a smaller one-bedroom layout. It is 566 square feet. It's small, not the smallest I've ever seen. And again, you have a very similar layout. You have the bedroom and this not a walk-in closet, but still a very spacious closet space that really can hold a lot. Washer dryer is like next to the bedroom now. And right at the entrance, you have your bathroom and coat closet. So they're similar. And besides those two options, you do have a bigger option, the 02 line. As you can see right at the entrance, there is a home office alcove situation. It does not have a window, but it is there as a home office. And this brings us up to 681 square feet, which is still on the smaller side for a layout with a separate office space. This is also on a corner. This kitchen window is facing south. So we're on the other side of the building. We're actually facing west now. So on the 11th floor, we do clear whatever building is in front of us. And you do have a very pretty skyline view. All the buildings are far enough from you and you have this open yet city-like view. Again, same kitchen, same size, everything. Bathroom, and in the middle, I believe, is the washer dryer. And here's your bigger closet in the bedroom. So those are your 3 one-bedroom layout options at this development. I'm going to talk about pricing in a moment. Let's also look at their only studio line. You have this line of kitchen that's the most space efficient way to do a kitchen, is at the entrance, sort of integrated in that hallway situation. And you have the bathroom again right at the entrance, which is it's not a deal breaker. It's just there because we have less square footage to work with. Coat closet at the entrance, no problem. At a studio, it rarely happens at a studio that you have a full-size kitchen. So this is fine. Like, you still have a speed oven on the wall, you have a separate oven, you have 2 ovens, nothing to complain about. You have a smaller cooktop and you have a smaller fridge. Nothing to complain about for a studio. And this is the washer dryer, and this is the start of the show. In the studio line, you do have a very oversized walk-in closet, fully built out. Could you have added some more things, maybe at your own design and expense? And this is the studio living space. Here I noticed that they made a bad choice when they staged this, because now this looks like the space can only fit a day bed. I would say this space can fit a queen bed comfortably. So this studio is 478 square feet. It's an okay size. You can't really make a studio too much smaller. Have I seen bigger? Yes, but this is a pretty standard size for these days for a studio. And again, I'm going to talk about pricing in a bit. Next, let's look at their 2-bedroom layouts. We have the O2 line, which is their classic standard 2-bedroom. It is located at the end of the building. So what this means is you have like windows on this side, and then you have 2 exposures on 2 ends. It does have 3 exposures. It just results in a very long layout. In the living room, you have your southern exposure, you have your eastern exposure facing 2nd Avenue, and this terrace balcony situation. It's not the most spacious, but you can still put a small table outside. You have the same size kitchen as all the 1-bedroom lines, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. Here you can see that we're walking all the way from one end of the living room all the way down to both bedrooms located on the other side. And in the middle, you have the secondary bathroom and powder room feature custom vanities, ceramic on vanity wall, and bathroom wall surround and porcelain floors. And next to the second bath is your washer dryer, and then you have another walk-in closet that doesn't belong to either bedroom, so divide it how you will. This is your smaller 2nd bedroom. We are now facing west, so like I said, end of the building, you have your southern exposure, and then east and west. So western exposure, we're on the 8th floor now. We're lower than what we just saw on the 11th floor. So we're looking at more of the mechanics on top of the buildings that are in front of us, but it's not a big deal because we're still getting that open light and exposure. Facing the back is good in its own way because of traffic noise. You still might hear sirens, that's just unavoidable, but you won't have traffic noise. And this would be the primary bedroom suite, same exposure with its own walk-in closet. And your primary bathroom has double vanity. That's good. Finishes look like all the primary bathrooms that we've seen, with a bigger vanity in the shower. So yeah, in the 2nd bathroom, you have the tub, which makes sense. That was their typical classic 2-bedroom line, and it is 1,052 square feet, so just over 1,000 square feet. As long as it's priced right, having a smaller square footage when you don't need more than that brings down your total price of purchase. This one is their economy 2-bedroom line. It's good for if you just want an extra room office, or if you just want a very, very well-priced 2-bedroom option. This layout is what we call an interior view, and it is one of the better interior views that I've seen. It does take advantage of this building fold situation. It is at an angle like that. So over here, you have your primary bedroom with a closet and an ensuite bathroom. You can see from here that you are in between your building and this other building on the same block, you do lose some direct sunlight coming in, but at this angle, it is not the worst thing because I've seen worse where you're just facing directly at a wall, and this still has a lot of openness. And here is your primary bathroom ensuite, and you lose that double vanity. So it's just a single vanity. And this is your living room. Again, this is why we call an interior view, but once we turn around, you can see that that actually is not so bad because you have that openness. And here is your second bedroom. In the second bedroom, you have this angle, right? You have all this openness. You're just interior facing. You have your built-out closets. But this is definitely one of the better interior facing situations. What I'm pointing out right now, that was your primary bedroom. Over here, this window is so high up. I don't exactly know why. It must be limited by architecture in some way. And this window definitely is more open. So you have that open western exposure. But I also wouldn't consider that to be a great window. It's still better than not having a window, of course. And your second bathroom is located right next to the second bedroom, which makes sense. And here you have your washer dryer. Full-size kitchen, and this is a pretty spacious living room. So I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit. This line is priced starting at $1.675 for a full actual 2-bedroom located in Manhattan. That's a really good, really competitive price. So is it the best 2-bedroom line we've seen? No, but there's a reason why it is priced so low. And I do think the price makes up for it. For 858 square feet, if you have a budget around 1617 and you would prefer to have a second bedroom, or if you need a second bedroom, 1.6, 1.7 these days gets you a good 1-bedroom at most. So this gets you a full extra bedroom for not so bad of an interior situation. I'm sure this will be a good option for some buyers. And here we have some footage for the lobby and some of the amenities. Very impressive stonework. Doorman's already in place. Package room. You have 2 elevators serving 18 stories and 65 units. That's a good size. That's fine. And here we have a courtyard. They're gonna put furniture, and downstairs is the lounge, the gym. Looks nice, looks modern. It's a space that will get used for sure. And they have this wet bar situation, a fridge, microwave, that's all good. The gym, I inspected at the time that I went. They do have a little bit of everything. They have all the right kinds of machines and equipments. Yeah, it's a small but mighty gym. Like, it has everything that you would want. And to my surprise, there is also a basketball court. It's not a full-size court, but hey, how many buildings have a basketball court, especially in such a small development of 65 units? What can you complain about? And here you have the rooftop. Since we're on the highest floor now, you do have more of the Manhattan skyline and more of a river view. And to the south, you can see the Freedom Tower. Now it's winter. There's still snow. And to the west, you have that skyline view. Yes, they did put in 2 grills and a fridge and a sink. So when the weather's nicer, you can barbecue here and have a party. So that was the layouts, and that was footages of the actual building and the finished products. Now let's talk about pricing. So the following numbers that I'm providing is current as of now, but by the time you see this video, it may not be. So please do your own research. I will only provide you with my opinion, but please also do your own due diligence before you make a decision on buying something. Just as a disclaimer. It is my opinion that this development is a must-see for a very specific type of buyer, and I do believe that that kind of buyer pool is also what this developer had in mind and is targeting by designing the layouts on the smaller square footage and pricing it at a reasonable price per square foot so that the total prices on most, if not all, of these units are very competitive compared to what else is on the market, especially in new development. And the monthlies are also very low, especially for a building this size. For 65 units that are sharing the costs and taxes of this building, currently the monthlies are $2.48 per square foot combined, but I do believe that that does not account for the tax increase that will occur the second year after the building gets completed, estimating a roughly 50% tax increase. That brings us to about $3 a square foot, and that is also way below the standard these days. Most new developments that come on the market these days, albeit with maybe better and more amenity options, it's within standard and within expectation that they would be higher than $3.50 per square foot. And some of the better, more upscale buildings with more amenities would push over $4 a square foot. So $3 a square foot, very, very competitive monthlies, even taking into account a tax increase. But that is also provided if they don't increase the common charges. I have heard of cases where a new development sponsor artificially lowers the common charges so that they can market that lower monthlies. But it actually wouldn't cover the monthly operating costs of the building. So after the unit owners take over, they do need to increase their common charges to account for that. But in a building like this with the standard, just a gym, lounge, you have that basketball court, yes, but all these amenities don't need to be staffed. So really you're only hiring your full-time doorman and maybe porter and manager. The monthlies are not going to be too high. So overall, I think this is a very good buy for someone who would prefer to not bring on such a high financial burden and still would like to buy something and own something. So as mentioned, the total price for most, if not all, these units are very competitive, partly because of the smaller square footage, but price per square foot is also competitive enough. So for the smallest one-bedroom line, which was the 05 line with that corner exposure, 605 is priced at $1,195,000. So that brings us to about $2,100 per square foot. And that's partially because of the corner, extra exposure and extra window, and partly because it is still the lowest priced one-bedroom line. The 04 line, which has just a straight eastern exposure, but that has better square footage. The third floor, 304, is priced at $1,225,000. On the sixth floor, 604 is priced at $1,270,000 for 610 square feet. That brings us a little lower to $2,081 per square foot. The 02 line with that home office alcove combined is 681 square feet, which is not that much more, but it does have the southern and western exposures. On the 11th floor, it's priced at $1.4 million, and that is $2,055 per square foot. So other one-bedroom lines are priced just over $2,000 per square foot, some over $2,100, and here one-bedroom lines are priced higher than their studio or two bedrooms. The Studio 03 line on the 6th floor, 603, is 478 square feet, as mentioned before, and it is priced at $895,000, which brings us down to $1,872 per square foot. So studios are priced lower, great for investment. As for 2 bedrooms, the 02 line, which is the normal classic 2 bedroom, but it is a long layout and it has that balcony for some outdoor space. On the 7th floor, it is priced at $2,175,000 for 1,052 square feet, and that is at $2,067 per square foot. So the bigger and better 2 bedroom is priced around the same per square foot as the 1 bedroom lines, but it does have that extra balcony. The interior facing, smaller but very competitively priced 2 bedroom is priced at $1,675,000 for the 6th floor, but that one is 855 square feet on a lower floor on the 6th floor, and that brings us down to $1,951 per square foot. And the same layout but bigger with more space on the 14th floor, 1401, is priced at $1,975,000 for 941 square feet. And that pushes us over 2,000 per square foot. In fact, it comes closer to 2,100 per square foot. And all of that was the current pricing. And depending on the market, depending on how much of the building is left at the time that you're looking, there may be different amounts of room on concessions, on closing costs, and on the price itself. So you may be able to get a better discount, better concession on some of the lines that they consider more difficult in selling. For example, it could be the interior facing 01 line compared to some of the more desirable layouts. You may get slightly less concessions. It really depends on the time that you're looking and negotiating, and it depends on the inventory they have left. It depends on how much the sponsor wants to sell quickly. But this is the pricing it's currently at. And I believe as of now, there's still Schedule A pricing, which means that it is the first set of pricing that is filed on the offering plan. And what that means is the sponsor cannot sell any of those units for higher than that price. So those numbers are the most amount of money that you're going to pay for those units until they decide to raise the prices. The reason why you want to strive for a Schedule A price is because usually, especially in recent years, Schedule A prices are the lowest price you're going to see throughout the sales cycle of a given new development, unless the Schedule A is priced ridiculously. For a new development, if it just comes on the market and they still have a lot of inventory, that is when it typically is priced lower, and prices usually only increase from that point, especially if they start to sell well and if they did not price it wrong to begin with. Of course, we've seen numerous examples of new developments coming in too aggressive with their pricing, units not selling, they're waiting it out, and then they're having to reduce price. But usually with those examples, you'll know that the units are overpriced when you see it from the beginning, right? I do not believe 2nd Avenue is one of them. I think they're priced competitively. I think they're going to be successful. And especially because the total prices for these units are very competitive within Manhattan, within Midtown, right? Because some people may just not be able to reach for that 1.6, 1.7 one bedroom, but they can spend on a 1.2 one bedroom, and that makes a difference of whether or not they buy and which one they buy. So if you're looking for something that's priced competitively, that's more of an economy option, and still a new development so that you have the comforts of new development buildings, this is a must-see project. Other similar developments that would be directly compared to 2nd Avenue include Eastlight, which is just 1 block away on 3rd Avenue and 34th Street. They are at a different stage of sales. Eastlide has been on the market since 2021, when we're just coming out of COVID is when they began sales. And initially they did struggle, but they were eventually able to sell most of the building. Per square foot price, Eastlide and 2nd Avenue are priced very similarly. The lowest remaining one-bedroom unit is priced at $1.5 million for 720 square feet. Yes, it is significantly larger. Price per square foot is very similar at $2,083 per square foot. So per square foot, very similarly priced, but their lowest priced remaining unit is at 1.5. So for someone who don't want to spend 1.5 and don't need to have that much space, 2nd Avenue is a great option. The lowest priced remaining 2-bedroom unit at Eastlide is priced at $2.57 million for 1,118 square feet at about $2,300 per square foot. It does have a very wow factor, skyline view, but again, for someone who don't want to spend up to that point, you can look at 2nd Avenue. Another development that certainly will be compared to 2nd Avenue is Monogram, New York. Many people have heard of it. I've made a video on it. What I'll say is they've sold out of their well-priced units that make more sense. As of the day that I'm making this video, their studios priced very similarly to 2nd Avenue at $1,887 per square foot, 478 square feet of space, a total price of $898,000. Very similar. But that is an interior facing with no direct sunlight on the 6th floor. The building that you are facing right in front of you is much taller, that you're paying the same price for. Some may say it has a better location because it's closer to the new JP Morgan headquarters. That is factual. Also depends on what kind of location you want to be in. Like, some people could think that you would rather be somewhere a little more residential, but Monogram is more central, but for the same price. At 2nd Avenue, you're getting something with an open view and good sunlight exposure. Monogram's 1-bedrooms now start at 1.25, but again, that is on the 8th floor, facing the same interior view and not a lot of sunlight. It's north facing. It faces the back of a very tall building. I would look at both and you'll know what to choose. Their lowest price street facing unit is 17F, and that for 616 square feet, that pushes you up to $1,682,000 for a stunning $2,731 per square foot. Lowest priced remaining 2-bedroom unit, 27C, is priced at $2.92 million for 926 square feet, and that pushes us over $3,100 per square foot. And look, I've seen it. It has good views. It doesn't have the greatest views, and it does have lots of windows, but the 2nd bedroom is small. For 926 square feet, I don't think that's a good price. So those are the two new developments that will be directly compared to 2nd Avenue for location and the targeted price range. So here is to summarize my opinions on 2nd Avenue. Yes, you're on 2nd Avenue. It is not the most central location, but you are in a more residential area of town. The total price of all these units are one of the most affordable developments that we've seen for the past year or so. The last new development that went towards this strategy of bringing the total price down was 300 West 30th Street. And you can look up the records of this if you want. But they made smaller units. Their 1-bedrooms were 499 square feet and 500 square feet for a 1-bedroom, and they were trading around and just above $1 million. I think if you have a 1-bedroom layout, 500 square feet is too small. So I'm glad that 2nd Avenue was doing things at least a little bigger than that for 1-bedrooms. It at least would be a square footage and a space that you'd feel comfortable staying and living in and calling home for a few years to come until you need bigger. So I think 2nd Avenue did do better on that. And that development on the west side, very central, is right next to Penn Station. But I wouldn't say that it is the best location to live because of just the amount of foot traffic and car traffic and noise all around. Like, you may not want to be there. And that development traded around $2,100 per square foot with, in my opinion, lower end finishes than 2nd Avenue. And those were the price that 300 West 30 actually traded at. And now we have 2nd Avenue, and these are the Schedule A pricing that they're not allowed to sell above. So especially if you're going in at a very early stage when they still have a lot of inventory, as a buyer, you'll have more negotiation leverage. And depending on the time and the inventory, provided that we're still in this buyer's market and they still have lots of inventory to sell, you can get very competitive concessions out of your negotiations. And that will bring your total price of purchase down that much more. So that was it on 2nd Avenue. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. And if you would like to work with me directly, you can find my contact information on the screen or in the description box. For more videos on New York City real estate, please subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please leave a comment below and I will be very happy to read and respond to them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.